Welcome back, dear listeners, to another exciting episode of Language Lab, the podcast where we delve deep into the fascinating quirks and intricate details of the English language. I'm Emma, your co-host, and I'm thrilled to be here with
James. Hey there, everyone. We're absolutely buzzing with excitement to tackle a topic that often trips up many English learners as well as native speakers alike. Today, we're going to explore some of the most common mistakes made in English and share practical tips on how to avoid them.
That's right. The English language can be quite tricky, and even the smallest slip-ups can completely alter the intended meaning of what you're trying to convey. So, without further ado, let's dive right into our first common mistake, the frequent misuse of your and your.
The classic mix-up. Your is a possessive adjective, meaning it indicates ownership of something, such as in the phrase your book. On the flip side, your is a contraction that stands for you are. This error pops up all the time, especially in written communication, and it can lead to some confusion.
Exactly. A simple yet effective way to remember the difference is to try substituting you are in the sentence you're working with. If it makes sense, then your is indeed the correct choice. If it doesn't fit, then you should go with your.
That's a fantastic tip. Now, let's move on to another prevalent error that often causes confusion: the distinctions between there, and there. This trio can certainly be a bit perplexing, don't you think?
Absolutely. There refers to a place or location. There is used to indicate possession, and there is, once again, a contraction that means they are. It's all too easy to mix them up, particularly when you're typing quickly and the words are flowing.
A helpful trick to keep in mind is that there can always be replaced with they are. If you find you can't make that substitution, then it's likely that you need to use either there or there.
Great advice. Now, let's shift gears and discuss another common error, confusing less and fewer. Many people don't realize that these two words are utilized in different contexts, which can lead to misunderstandings.
Right, the word fewer is used for countable nouns, such as fewer apples or fewer cars, while less is reserved for uncountable nouns, like less water or less time.
A good way to remember this distinction is to think about whether the items in question can be counted. If you can count them, you should use fewer. If they are uncountable, then less is the appropriate choice.
Moving on, let's explore the often misunderstood distinction between who and whom. This one can feel a bit formal, but understanding it is quite important.
Yes, indeed. Who is used as the subject of a sentence, while whom is used as the object. A simple trick to remember is to consider whether you could answer the question with he or him. If he fits, then who is the right choice. If him fits better, then you should use whom.
That's a great way to break it down. Now, let's touch on another source of confusion: the difference between its and its.
Another frequent mistake that many people make. Its is a contraction for either it is or it has, while its is the possessive form, indicating that something belongs to it.
A good way to remember this distinction is to check if you can replace its with it is. If that substitution works, then you should use its. If not, then its is the correct choice.
Now, let's not overlook a mistake that often surfaces in spoken English: the use of double negatives.
Yes, in standard English, using two negatives in the same sentence can lead to confusion. For instance, when someone says, "I don't need no help," they technically mean that they do need help, because the negatives cancel each other out.
Instead, the correct phrasing should be, "I don't need any help." It's a subtle but crucial distinction that can significantly impact clarity.
Absolutely. Another common error we encounter is the misuse of good and well.
Right. Good functions as an adjective, while well serves as an adverb. So, you would say, "I feel good but I play well."
A quick way to remember this is that if you're describing a noun, you should use good. If you're describing a verb, then well is the correct choice.
Now, let's not forget about differentiating between to, and to.
Yes, to is a preposition. To can mean also or indicate excessiveness, and to is simply the number. It's an easy mix-up, especially in writing.
A helpful way to keep them straight is to remember that to has an extra o for also. If you can replace it with also, then you're using the right one.
And let's wrap things up with the common mistake of saying, "I could care less."
Right. The correct phrase is actually "I couldn't care less." If you could care less, then that implies you care at least a little bit.
Exactly. It's a subtle but significant distinction that can completely change the meaning of what you're trying to express.
So, To summarize our discussion today, we've explored a variety of common mistakes, ranging from your versus your to the distinctions between good and well.
And we've shared some practical tips to help you navigate these pitfalls in both your writing and speaking. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and the key is to learn from them.
We sincerely hope you found this episode helpful and informative. If you have any questions or would like to share your own experiences with common mistakes, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media.
And don't forget to subscribe to Language Lab for more insightful tips and tricks on mastering the English language.
Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep practicing and honing your language skills.